Hey guys, welcome back to According To. I'm Megan.
And I'm Ciera. For this week's episode, Megan and I thought it'd be fun to just do like a general like entry into dating, like topic, discussion, all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah. As two people who have, limited relationship experience, we're still people with opinions, and we have strong opinions. So, especially regarding
the entry
relationship stuff. Which,
entry or not entry.
It could explain why we don't have as much experience, because there's so many things that it's like an immediate, like, no, it's not going to work for me. This isn't going to work out between us. So, like, to each their own. As hard as I've tried, because I've recognized this about myself, I'm like, maybe I just need to, like, not have really any expectations and, like, just date a little bit more to, like, get some experience under my belt. But then, like, I just can't get past the fact of, like, if I literally don't see it going anywhere, then, like, why am I going to go on a date with someone just because? So we're kind of going to cover a few different topics, and then we also asked you guys for input as well, so we can share what you guys think too. We're going to be doing kind of rules for dating. So generally speaking, just like, I don't know, I guess how would you describe it?
To me, rules for dating encompasses, it could include like deal breakers or red flags, but it also includes your own behavior and how you're going to act or respond to whatever like situationship or talking stage you have with a person. Because I myself have actually created a list just like before that I've had in my notes.
Sometimes when you're in a situation.
This is why you do it. This is why you do it. Because when you're in a talking stage with someone, your mind is not the same. And you're willing to give a little bit more than you normally would in your right state of mind.
Care about you and interested in you.
So what you need to do is when you're not talking to anyone, like there is no one you're interested, you're not pursuing anything, and you're in your right single state of mind, you need to say, here is what future me needs to follow because I'm in my right state of mind. I know she will not be. So you have to provide some guidance for your future self.
Then you start making exceptions to the rules.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Like X,
You're
Y,
like,
Z.
well, you made the rule in the first place. So that's the first thing we'll talk about. And then the second thing is going to be like deal breakers, red flags, things like that. And then finally, we're going to cover just like when you're on a dating profile, like immediate swipe left. That's just not going to work for you.
And keep in mind, all of this stuff is our own opinion. Right. You are free to have your own opinions based off of who you are interested in and who you're attracted to. Because we're not all attracted to the same people.
Right.
So these are just our thoughts.
Before we jump into the episode, we are going to do our weekly spotlight like we always do. So if I reflect on my
It's only been a couple days since we last recorded, right. So not a lot has happened.
Honestly, like my weekly spotlight is like getting through the first week of being back and kind of like jumping into all of the interview stuff and applying for jobs, and then finally having it be the weekend again where I'm like, okay, no one's going to reach back out to me because not that I like did a whole lot. Like I only applied to like a reasonable number of positions where I'm like, okay, I can handle, doing interviews and applying, but I just was like, getting a phone call out of the blue and like not fully knowing like
scream,
who is it, what, it's just, I don't like it. So I was happy when the weekend came around and I was like done with it until the following week. So that's my weekly spotlight.
My weekly spotlight, I have been getting great sleep, but also a lot of sleep. I don't know what it is coming back from Hawaii, or if it's just like knowing that I don't have to be up for anything. Like I don't have a ton to do right now. I have just been so tired waking up, and I'm like, I guess I'll just snooze. So it's like good, like I'm getting good sleep, great sleep. But I'm also like, dang, what is going on?
Right.
Also, You Season 4 Part 1 came out, and so I've been excited about that. We are 2 episodes of 5 in so far.
Yeah. I like how they changed it up this season, too. It's a little bit different than the other ones. Ciera and I were, like, falling asleep, though, because, like...
Not, like, any fault of the show. I think we were just exhausted.
But then, we kind of, like, stopped watching the show because we kind of both were like, I think we are, like, going to fall asleep on the couch right now. But then neither of us ended up taking naps, so...
Yeah.
Also, quick book update, since, I don't know, we've started doing this a little bit more recently, and I know some people like when you talk about books a little bit more, and since full book episodes maybe aren't as applicable to the entire audience, kind of doing these little book catch-ups is a fun way to keep you updated. So I just finished reading Today, Tonight, and Tomorrow, and I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was a very cute book. It reminded me quite a bit, it was pretty similar to Summer of Broken Rules in the sense that both of them centered around like this game of assassin, which I think is just like a fun thing, I guess, in books. It also kind of reminded me, only in the very beginning, but like of The Do-Over, because at the very beginning, she like crashes her car into someone else's car on the way to school, and that's like, it was in the very beginning, and that same thing happens in the do-over where I was like, whoa. But it's not really applicable to the rest of the story, but I was just like, this is like Summer Broken Rules. It's like the do-over. So I was getting like a lot of other books in my mind. I honestly, when I posted my recent book haul of like the 4 different books I got, I had mixed reviews on The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren, and like everyone loved Today, Tonight, and Tomorrow. But I would say I probably liked The Soulmate Equation more than Today, Tonight, and Tomorrow. They're both great books, but like I was close to giving The Soulmate Equation 5 stars. And this book was just like a solid 4 stars all the way through. So that's my book update.
My book update, I just finished reading The Silent Woods, and it was a book that I probably like normally wouldn't have picked up, but this was back in November that I got it, or October. I picked up It Starts With Us whenever that came out, and then it had the sticker at Barnes & Noble that was like, buy one, get one, 50% off. And so I was like, let me just find another book quick. And so like that one just kind of, I saw the sticker and it was like our monthly pick or whatever. So I grabbed it. And then I was like, I don't know, it could be good. Like it had decent reviews on Goodreads, but again, it wasn't something that I would normally pick up. And I liked it. It was a little bit slow in the beginning, but it picked up. I thought it was a good overall story. So I gave it 4 stars. And now I have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow that I'm going to read next, which I'm really excited about because it's really hyped. I don't really know what it's about, but I'm excited.
Okay. Do we want to go through like all of our personal thoughts first, or do we want to
I think let's do like our rules of dating and then go to other people's rules of dating and just do it that way. Okay. Should I pull mine up since I've had this list?
I added some. You probably have like a more extensive list. Honestly, like the Dealbreakers thing is where I'm like I have the least amount of things because I feel like I almost in my swipe lefts like include some of the Dealbreakers because that's why I'm swiping left on them, you know? So you can start. I'll jump in if I have the same or yeah.
So this, I have it in my notes as Ciera's ground rules. So the first one is,
actually, sorry, you can keep going. I'm like confused on my list. But.
Okay. First one is courtesy second date is okay, but at that point, if you're not excited, don't keep dating them. And I feel like I learned this from like the last talking stage that I was in because I was like, they were like a great person, like totally nice, like totally great, like no red flags, just like, you know, whatever.
You just like weren't feeling.
And like, so I was like, okay, I'll keep like hanging out with them, keep going on dates with them, but like there just like wasn't that spark or something. And then I was like, we are however many dates into this, and I'm like, I just don't know if I see this going anywhere. But then I felt bad because I was like, we've hung out so many times, and I was like, what am I gonna tell them? And like when I'm like, I'm not feeling it. Like you're great, but yeah. So I've decided that you can go on a first date and like if things are fine, give them a second date. But after that, if I'm not feeling it, no more.
Yeah,
that's what I decided for myself.
Like, I don't know what you were feeling or not with these second dates or after
multiple dates,
but it's like you kind of want like the butterfly feeling where you're just like nervous to go on the date, and because then I feel like that gives you a good sense of like I'm excited, but I'm nervous, and that's good.
I felt like, you know, we'd set stuff up and I'd be like if he happened to like cancel for some reason, I wouldn't be like that upset about it. And so I was like, okay, like I have to go on like a date again. There was literally like nothing wrong with this guy. He was nice, great. I have nothing bad to say about him, but I just like wasn't feeling it. And so I was like, okay, tuck that in. That's why I put this on the list, because I was like, you always think about the things that can go like horribly wrong and make you want to cut someone off.
Not something horribly wrong, but you're still.
And again, I've like, to me, every time like some sort of talking stage or something has ended, this person has like done something that like I'm like turned off by, or just like, you know, I get like the ick from them. And I was just like, I don't know, like maybe like I just was like, I'm confused. So I was like, I'll just keep going on dates with them, I guess, because nothing is wrong. And I've learned that just because nothing's wrong doesn't mean it's going to be right either.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, let's see. We can kind of go back and forth if that works. So my first one was kind of like more specific with like the actual dating process, but I feel like you should have like confirmation of the date on the day of the date, and preferably like early on. I don't know if people are good or not at doing that, but I feel like that's generally just like a good rule to follow to make sure that all of a sudden plans weren't canceled, or, you know, just like everyone's on the same page still. Good practice to get into.
This one, you guys already know. No Snapchat. Big ground rule for me. One, especially if it's like the main form of communication, that's like absolute no for me. But I'm also just like, I don't even want to add them on Snapchat at this point, because I'm going back to like the last guy that I was talking to. Like we got each other's phone numbers, communicated primarily that way, and then like we eventually got each other on Snapchat, and then there's like 2 conversations going on. I hate Snapchat as an app. I don't use it like really at all, and so I cannot be bothered to like talk to one person on this app, and so it just annoys me. I'm never giving anyone else my Snapchat ever again because I just don't want to be communicated through that way. So
yeah.
it's just like I hate the app, so that's why.
Okay. I also feel like I prefer dates on weekdays rather than like the weekend because, you know, hopefully like if you're excited for the date, then it's like a fun little pick me up during the week, something to look forward to after work, ideally. And then I also feel like it's just way less stressful. You kind of have like, okay, I gotta be up for work the next morning. Like we know this has to be done in a reasonable time. And then like the weekend, I just feel like you don't have like those same time constraints that are like unspoken, and you know, you don't necessarily want to be like spending your weekend on a date. That's kind of it.
I agree. I think it can be stressful in the sense that I'm like, there's like no time. You come home from work and then like you have to get ready and change, but like it is nice to have like, okay, just this many hours, we're done. I have to get, you know, up for work tomorrow. So you have like this like limited time window that's usually like 2 or 3 hours. Like that's it. That's all we get.
Like it doesn't have to, but I'm just like, if I had a preference, like that's what I would prefer, especially like for like a first date situation. And then after that, sure, go wild.
Yeah. Okay. Next one I have is more of a reminder to myself, but in the beginning of like a talking stage or whatever, realize that this person could also be talking to other people and just being mindful of that.
That's always interesting because I myself like don't have any strict rules, I guess, for what I personally do. Because I feel like my personality is kind of like I have a hard time like even thinking about like talking to multiple people at one time. Like I kind of like hyperfixate on like one person at a time and don't do anything else. But like that's not what everyone does, and they're not wrong for doing either or. So
yeah, I just kind of put that in to be like, you know, I do the same thing Megan does, and so I tend to like hyperfixate. Sounds like really strong,
right?
But it's just like if I'm talking to someone, I'm pretty much only talking to them, and I just need to realize like they could not be, and remind myself that.
Because then it's like maybe they're keeping their eyes open for someone else and you're not really doing that.
Or just like realizing if someone ghosts you or something at some point, like it could be because A, they could have just lost interest. B, they could have been talking to 3 other people and they finally found the number 1 pick that they want to keep talking to. And so then they like cut everyone else off. And you're like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't do anything wrong.
Okay. I have must be in public. I feel like that's kind of like pretty standard nowadays, but yeah, let's actually go somewhere and have a little bit of a plan. I'm not just going to go hang out at your place or you come over here and hang out at my place.
Next one, another reminder. If you are confused, then it's probably not working. I just feel like
you were confused.
Not even just like with my last one, but like it's also related to like that. Are they talking to other people? Is he fully interested in me? If you're asking yourself 1,000,001 questions, and it's like, because the last guy I was talking to, I was pretty sure he was interested in me. Like communication was pretty straightforward and that stuff. But other times in the past where I've been like, is he taking too long to respond? And that's when you have to kind of like,
you're like,
gauge,
we're not children here.
You know, your own commitment level of like how invested are you? Because you don't want to get too invested too fast. You have to check yourself. That's why we have this list. But just realizing if I'm that confused, then like maybe I should be like putting all my eggs in one basket of like, this is the future.
Okay. Another one of my rules is that I'm a very casual person. So I would prefer first dates to just be very casual if possible. So it could be like dinner's an easy thing, but like it could literally be like the most casual dinner ever. It could be going to a freaking fast food restaurant for all I care. It could be, I don't know, mini golf or something. Just, I don't like doing a lot because it's not really who I am as a person. So I just want to be in like a very casual setting. I was trying to think of like more examples of good first dates, but I couldn't be bothered. Do you have any like, what's your like ideal, where do you go for a first date? Movies would be an absolute no. I think that's a horrible first date idea.
I do think that activity-based first dates are nice. Like mini golf comes to mind automatically. That's like a very specific first date. But just something where it's like you're both doing something that like distracts you, and you don't have to be like staring at each other the entire time, but like it's an easy way to like you're still easily communicating with one another. I think that's good. If I don't have off the top of my head like any other like recommendations besides mini golf, I think bowling would be an awful first date, because the nature of bowling is that you like go back and forth and like you like can't talk because you're like it's your turn.
Yeah.
So
that would be a really bad first date.
Wouldn't do that one. I don't mind like dinner, food, whatever, but I like the activity idea more. Yeah. What's your opinion on some people go on like walking dates?
I was thinking about that when I like was coming up with my list. I think I'd
be down for a walking date.
This would be if I had like a good feeling about the person I was going on a first date with, where I just felt like
we'd have like
a good conversation and it'd be a good connection. That actually did come to mind as something where like if you just like drive to like a little park area and you were gonna like walk around, I think that could be a fine, good first date.
Imagine how awful it would be though if like the person was like, if you just didn't communicate with that person, you'd just be like, oh my god.
Yeah, you'd kind of like, you'd have to have a feeling for me to be okay with that date.
Yeah. Or like imagine this would be like green flag for them. They like pick up like Starbucks on the way there, and you both like drink your little Starbucks or something. Megan's jaw drops. Right. Green flag.
But what if they brought me like a coffee or something? I'd be like, ugh.
They would ask you. No one guesses your Starbucks order on the first date. Okay. Is it my turn or your turn? Okay. Some of these are just like reminders that I don't really care about. Another reminder, but I will share. Do you like him more than being single / don't keep seeing someone just so you can say like you're seeing someone?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I feel like especially, you know, people constantly asking like, oh, like, you know, when you like family reunions and stuff, people are like, are you seeing anyone? Are you dating someone? And sometimes you just want to be like, yeah, like I am. And so just remind myself that the right person will come along. I don't need to start dating someone just to be like, I'm dating someone.
Like, we're pretty content people, just like as we are and like living our lives in the way we do. So I feel like it's hard for us to, you know, care enough sometimes to like go seek someone out or take dating a little bit more seriously. But I think at the end of the day, like I would much rather be alone and on my own by myself, like literally for the rest of my life, versus like in a relationship with someone that I just like really didn't care that much about or like didn't feel like a super strong connection with.
Mm-hmm. You know what else I think about my personality? It prevents this from also becoming a thing. Like to a certain extent, I do care, but to a greater extent, I'm like, whenever I'm dating someone, I want people to be like wowed. You know what I mean?
They're the it couple.
Like I want to just not be dating someone like, oh yeah, like I'm dating someone here, there, and then everyone's like, okay. I want them to be like, wow, have you met Ciera's new boyfriend? Like,
they are
quite the catch. Like, that's what I want.
I mean, I feel like that's what everyone wants. Right?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you
But, like, I'd rather be single for a very long time than, like, bring someone mediocre around.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that... Okay, my next one is... I think that, and this is, like, contrary to, like, definitely old-fashioned, but, like, drive yourself to the date.
For sure.
First date. Like, it should be in public. I don't want the guy picking me up. I'm driving myself because I want control over... I think it takes the nerves down a little bit because then I get to, like, drive myself there. I'd calm down a little bit, hopefully. But also, like, you know, just general safety stuff and wanting to be able to, like, leave when I want to leave. All of that stuff. I'm driving myself.
For sure. I think I have that as well. Next one is remember that he's not whatever you make him out to be in your head, but only how he presents himself.
You're really wise, Ciera.
Thank you.
I can just tell you did like a lot of reflecting after.
It wasn't just the last person I saw.
I know.
This has been a list for a while. But just like, it's that, especially if you meet someone like on a dating app or something, and you just like,
you kind of like
visualize like who they are. And that's not who they are, which isn't fair to them either. So you just need to be like, also have like actions or more than words, like just who they are and how they present themselves to you. Like you have to take that at like face value,
you're judging,
and not
the person on a dating app.
Not you're like, well, on their dating profile, like they had X, Y, and Z, and like they look such a family person. Say like just don't do that.
Okay. This is a strong rule for me. Whoever asks pays. Whoever asks the person on the date pays. And since I'm usually probably never going to ask someone on a date, we'll see. But, like, I don't see it happening. I'm too nervous to do that. That would mean that the guy would pay. However, it is also part of my rules that the other person always needs to ask if they could pay or if they want to split or whatever. But I feel like, you know, some people have this idea of, like, they don't ask because, like, they're like, they better pay for the first date. But I just feel like it communicates more of a common decency than anything. Like, it's more of a display your character situation rather than...
I always feel, and I want your opinion on this too, I always feel like whenever this happens, like, it just feels awkward. Like, whenever, you know, like, the bill comes and, like, do you say, like, oh, like, should we split? Do you say, like, oh, I can get it? Like, what?
I would probably say, do you want to split it or I can pay? Like, that's probably how I would word it. And then, like, to be honest, if they asked me on the date, I would expect them to say, no, I got it. That's just me personally. But, you know, like, if they actually said, like, yeah, we can split it, I would do that.
Yeah.
I just would then be like, mark against. Strike one.
I think that's all I had for my
I only had a couple
dating
more
rules.
On time is late. Because I feel like when you're dating someone, like, I mean, I've never personally experienced being stood up, but, like, I could only imagine, like, if you're at, like, a restaurant or something and you're in there and you've already told the person, like, you're waiting for someone else, like, it just gets nerve-wracking the longer you're waiting, especially if it starts going past the time that you said and agreed on. So on time is the latest you should be.
I agree with that. Like, I think...
And plan ahead of
5 to 10 minutes before you're, like, if it's like a restaurant, like, you're waiting outside the restaurant, like, for that person. That's what I think.
And then my last one, which we already kind of talked about earlier, but I feel like 1 to 2 hour dates are kind of like the best length of time for a standard first date. If you're both having a great time, by all means, stay longer. But 1 to 2 hours is a good ideal time, I think.
Okay. That's
So
it
those
for
are
our
rules.
dating rules. Now we'll get into some of your guys' dating rules. So I think a lot of these were also, like, from what I'm seeing, people saying, like, just when they're in a relationship. So it's not quite, like, I feel like we were just, like, very much...
We're more entry level. And
dating.
So
I have no comment on further into the relationship. So someone said both sides should always be putting in effort. What's your opinion? Because some people, like, I agree with that, but then there's also, like, the conversation of people saying, oh, if your partner can only put in 20%, then, like, that's when you put in 80%. And, like, that give and take of, like, you both can't always equally be putting 150%, whatever, into the relationship.
I've never actually heard that argument. I lean more towards I'd want a certain level of reciprocation and effort into a relationship. And I understand, like, if it went in waves of, like, one person doing a little bit more and then other times, like, you can't be 100%.
I think it's like, where does the average?
Yeah. And then what I would say even more than that is I honestly, like, this is going to be probably something that I have to, like, reflect on myself when I'm actually, like, in a relationship with someone. Because I'm always kind of like, you know, you see the TikToks and posts of, like, if he wanted to, he would. And it's people, like, going out of their way, doing, like, really nice things. And to be honest, like, I mean, not that I've had, like, opportunity to see if I am that person or not that would do the same thing in return. But, like, I don't know if I'm the person of, like, I guess it's more so I see TikToks of, like, when you're in that talking stage, it's like, do you know that this person's interested in you? Are they doing things that make you feel cared for, things like that? And I'm kind of like, upon reflection, I don't even know if I do said things that would, like, make the other person completely aware of, you know, being interested in them. But I feel like you're also walking a fine line of, like, this is an early baby relationship. You don't want to come off too strong either. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. All that's kind of like a word jumble. But maybe some of it made sense.
Okay. Someone else said, never stop dating. Always change it up and don't get too comfortable. I think that for the people who are in longer term relationships, like, that is very important for them to try and internalize and then enact how they're going to keep feeling like they're dating. Because I feel like I get conflicted. Part of me wants to just like skip all of like the like entry into dating, like the questioning stuff, like X, Y, and Z, and just like get into like that comfortable stage where you're just like, you feel like you're solid. You know what I mean? This is from the outside looking in, obviously, of like observing other relationships. Not to say like dating can't be fun, but just like sometimes you just want to be in it and be like, we're comfy and just like feel like this is it, you know?
Yeah.
But I do think that it can get into that like monotonous routine, and that's when people say like, okay, it feels like we're just roommates or friends or whatever. Like, how do we get that spark back? And that's when I think you have to like continue just like doing the things that you did early on in the relationship when it felt like this exciting new thing. So again, this is me telling from the outside looking in. I've never experienced like the dullness of like a relationship just kind of going stagnant, but I can imagine that you have to be mindful of it.
Yeah. Someone else said, must ask you questions back. If it's a one-sided conversation, then it's a no-go. I feel like the best sign of just like being on a good date or kind of like thinking or realizing that maybe things can go further is like just how easy the conversation is. If it flows super easy back and forth, it's probably a pretty good sign. And if you feel like you're doing all of the work, then maybe you should be like, are you feeling it?
If you feel like you're asking all the questions, just like pause and don't say anything and see what they say.
Yeah. Another big thing, which I wholeheartedly agree with, is all parties have to be willing to compromise when necessary.
Mm-hmm. I love trying to figure out compromises. So hopefully that will work well when I enter into a relationship.
I feel like I'm a pretty reasonable person. Because, like, you can't always win. You can't win. Your partner can't always win. So whether it means you come up with like a creative solution for like one situation to try and make everyone happy, or if it means, you know, they kind of get their way this time and then next time you kind of get your way.
I feel like sometimes like compromise isn't always just like find a middle ground that like no one is totally happy with, and sometimes it's saying, okay, we have to pick one of these ideas, so someone's gonna be not super happy this time around, but then like you said, the other person can like pick whatever it is next time.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
Compromise.
Next one that I see, someone said, everyone's busy, make time for your significant other even after 5 years and beyond. So I feel like that's similar to like never stop dating. Right. But I also probably like even in the early stages of dating, I'm always a person where it's like, I don't want to commit. Like, I don't know if it's commitment issues or whatever, but I'm like, I don't want to spend so much time with this person that I don't know.
Yeah. It's so hard just like being in that early stage where like you don't really know the person that well. Yeah. And sometimes it can just be like hard to get excited about that because you're like, I really don't even know this person. So dedicating time out of your day to like,
when it's like, I'm a homebody anyways, I don't even want to leave the house. Yeah. Now I'm leaving a house to go on a date, like, it's too much.
Another one that I just thought of, and I kind of saw someone on here said like civil disagreements, and how someone argues really tells you a lot about the person.
That's
good.
Are you
going to be able to, like, because arguing, you know, doesn't have to be a bad thing. It could be, you know, just you're having a disagreement. So then, like, maybe quote unquote, then you're by definition arguing. But I feel like, are they someone who shuts down, isn't going to talk to you, is not trying to solve any problems? I think sometimes that can be okay, but it also like cannot be their only response. There are times where it's okay to have a cool off period, I think. But it's also like, okay, we need to wrap up the cool down period and then start talking. Otherwise, we're not getting anywhere. But some people go into like shutdown mode and they don't want to talk. And then it's like, well, now we're really not getting anywhere.
Yeah. I think everyone has their own reactions to an argument. And within your relationship, you need to figure out what your partner's reaction is and then adjust each other's reactions accordingly to like hopefully speed up the solution process and like not shut the other person out.
Because then of course there's like the opposite reaction where someone like kind of blows up on you and is like making something way bigger than it needs to be. It's also not good. So
gotta find a good balance.
Find someone who hopefully has good healthy communication, and that even when you're in your periods of disagreement, you can still talk through them reasonably well.
Someone said don't cheat, obviously. I agree with that one. That's a big one for me.
Okay. I feel like now we can kind of jump into our deal breakers and go from there.
Okay. You go first.
This is when I said I needed to like double check my list.
I only have like 3 deal breakers or red flags that I wrote down, but
Okay.
one's like kind of a joke.
I combined like deal breakers with like swiping left. So unless you broke yours up more, we might kind of be combining these things.
Okay. Mine is, so deal breaker red flag number 1 for me is like love bombing early on. It also just gives me like the biggest ick ever because I'm just like, you don't know me. So you have no thoughts about me.
Like, even if I can fully see where someone is like, you know, this person has like everything that it seems like I want in a relationship and like I don't want to lose them, but like calm down. Think that in your head and just ease into it. Slow down a little bit. How do we want to do this? Because are you going to say your specific list or am I
don't have like that many for the deal breakers and red flags. So like I literally have like 2 more and one's kind of a joke just based off of like what we were talking about. But this one though, here, I'm curious. I have one that I want to see. Like I have, if this person follows these people, and I want to know,
forgot to even put that on my list.
I want to know if you can guess. I have 3 people written down. No. I would be heavily like not really interested if they followed a bunch of like celebrity like Instagram model and stuff, but they
done.
No.
Why should
it's not
one where I'm like,
there are no women on this list.
Oh. Okay. So it's guys that I'm listing?
Yes.
3 of them?
Yes.
Okay. Does Elon Musk have an Instagram?
I don't know. He's not on the list. I would be like, but like not red flag.
Are you? Yeah.
Are you just a big Tesla guy?
Rogan? Or Joe Rogan?
He's on the list.
Who else?
This guy was like, everyone's talking about him.
Wait.
But he fell off.
Does he even have social media accounts anymore? Andrew Tate?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't keep up with it.
I thought he was like freaking arrested.
Maybe. Andrew Tate's confusing because I'm just like, I've never met someone who's actually a fan of him in real life. It's always been like trolls online. So I'm like, are you just trolling right now? Are you actually a fan of his?
And then one more. Can you give me like an industry that they're in?
I know that you know this guy because we've talked about him before, but I don't know if you can name him. But he's essentially like a playboy.
That's not an industry.
I don't know. He's rich and he's surrounded by many women. Like that's his brand.
I don't know.
Dan Bilzerian.
No idea who that is.
That's like, he's basically just like Hugh Hefner, but not
okay.
again.
Well, then let's do the reverse. What are your thoughts on like different girls they follow?
If I went to a guy's Instagram, listen. If I went to a guy's Instagram, it's not even if it's famous women or just a lot of women his age, I'd be like, what's going on?
And guess what? There is no double standard because I freaking follow no one on Instagram. Even celebrities that I admire, I like do not care what they're doing on
Chris
Instagram.
Evans, my biggest celebrity crush. I don't follow him. Mostly because I'm like, I don't follow most celebrities on Instagram because I don't, like, they suck at posting on Instagram. But
I just feel like there's certain people where, like, if I was kind of questioning, I'm like, why do you freaking follow them? Then I'd ask them, why are you following them? And then I'd love to hear their answer. And, yeah. So.
Okay, you share some now. Because I only have one more.
Okay. So, this is kind of like, I was thinking of most of these when I was thinking about, like, who would I swipe left on. Snapchat filters of any kind.
I have that
Snapchat
on
filters
swipe
of
left.
any kind, immediately swiping left on the account. This applies to women, too. Like, if a woman has, like, a Facebook profile picture with, like, a Snapchat filter, I'm honestly just like, what are you doing?
Hard agree.
Hate them. Okay. Also, if they have, like, super basic responses on their prompts, the most common one ever is, like, I'm over-competitive about, and then they just say anything. Like,
be a little bit more creative.
A little more effort would just be nice. It just makes me think they have, like, literally no effort for anything ever. Like, I extrapolate out these data points.
You know what is funny? And this is probably a double standard, but it's funny to, like, think about guys, like, making a dating profile.
Sometimes I honestly, like, I just want to give, like, guys tips on,
no,
like,
I
how
literally
to improve
go
their dating
if I'm
profile.
like on a dating app.
It gets to a point where I'm like, there's nothing in it for me anymore. I'm not finding anyone, so I just like start going through.
Be like, you should have put this picture
this
first.
Is a good picture, or this isn't a good picture, or like and it's not even about like changing who they are as a person. There's just like better ways that people could like
Present
showcase themselves online.
No, I've literally done this before. If I'm
So
like, there's
sometimes I'll
nothing
just
in
make
it
it
for
a
me at
game.
this point, I'll like pause on a profile and be like, okay, I'm obviously not swiping on this person, but what would I do if I was like their dating app coordinator?
Right. Okay. Next thing for me personally, anything like smoking, drugs, like just a hard no for me. So it's an easy swipe.
And
left.
honestly, it's nice when they put that stuff on there because then it's easy for me to
yeah.
decide.
Sometimes too, this is like, I don't know if you ever noticed this, but like you have obviously like the drinking, marijuana, and then like drugs, other category.
You're like, whoa, what is that? That's what I think when I see that.
But then I'm like, they'll have like some of them, but then like they won't have anything for the marijuana. And I'm just like, I just want to know. Like, if you do it or not, whatever. But just like, I need to know. And if they don't put it, but they put the other stuff, I'm kind of like, why? Why don't you just answer that one too? Just me personally. Okay. And then drinking for me, like I'm not like a no, someone can't drink. However, like I look at their profile as a whole. If I see that every single picture they post is them out at a bar, and then maybe they're also like, my Sundays typically look like me recovering or whatever. Then I'm like,
nothing against you.
We're not going to match. We just have different lifestyles, and that's okay, but it's just a swipe left for me. Okay.
I have, since we're kind of getting into like more swipe stuff, the last one I had, this was like, again, I brought it because you brought it up. Whatever their thoughts are on Simone Biles at the Olympics in 2021.
So you and I were talking about this.
This is Megan's screening question.
I've never had
really.
the opportunity to, use this in practice to see how helpful or not it would be. But here's my thought process is it would just be very telling of the person, because I feel like it could very easily show like misogynistic characteristics about them, because you either know the situation, and if you actually know the situation, I feel like you cannot say anything bad about Simone Biles, honestly, or you don't know the situation and you just jump to conclusions and are being mad without knowing any of the situation. In which case, I'm like, you should have looked a little bit more into it if you have an opinion. Otherwise, say, I don't have a freaking opinion because I don't know what happened. I'm like, do I get into my whole spiel about...
I'll give you like 1 minute to go off.
So, being people who are relatively involved in like the gymnastics world and community, obviously, like everyone else, when Simone Biles did not end up continuing competing with the Olympics, we were kind of like, oh my goodness, what's going on? And anyone who has a brain would figure out that the reason she wasn't competing was because she had twisties, and like physically it was dangerous for her to continue competing. She didn't choose not to compete because she didn't feel like it. It was unsafe for her to continue
and
competing.
Also probably got like anxiety and stuff going on top of all that.
Why would I would not go do my floor routine if I was like, okay, there's a chance I might break my neck, but like I'll
go
do
Team
this.
USA.
So that's what happened. And so if someone were to still say, well, she shouldn't have competed,
like
blah,
she
blah,
let her
blah,
team down,
like,
she let her country down.
I would be like, I gotta head out.
I gotta go.
So that's just, if you want like an interesting teaser question that's not like normal, do that one.
Okay. Some of the other like swipe left stuff that I had. This is, again, for me
Here's
personally.
I will lastly add, if you were to explain the situation and kind of guide them to a correct answer and they seem like they genuinely learned something, then that would maybe be okay.
Okay.
A teaching moment.
So this one is hard to come by. So fishing and hunting photos, not for moral reasons, like not because I'm like anti-hunting, fishing, whatever. I'm not really pro that stuff either, but I just think that they are more of like a country boy.
I had 2 country on my list.
We live in Iowa, so a country boy is not hard to come by.
It's just not who I am. As much of a city girl as I can be in Des Moines, Iowa, I am a city girl.
Or like a suburban girl.
Right.
So I just think our lifestyle
like a different vibe that we have going on. They have their vibe.
And they're probably not looking for me either. So
exactly.
I just am like, nah, not feeling it.
Okay. Height is one that I'm honestly like fairly lenient on. I mostly just want them to be taller than I am. So I have if they're under 5'7", which usually is like not gonna happen.
That's brave of you.
It's I kind of like 5'8" is probably more realistic, but yeah.
all I want, here's the thing. If I can go and like see a guy in person,
I guess
and I don't know
into consideration
listen to me. If I see a guy in person and I don't think twice about his height, that is tall enough. You know what I mean? Like, you don't go with a measuring tape if you like see a cute guy in public and like you don't think about his height. So if it's like I'm attracted to him and I don't question his height, he must be tall enough. I don't have an exact number for you guys. Ideally, I can wear 3-inch heels, 4-inch heels, and he's still taller than me. So like add an inch onto that. I'm like 5'5". 4-inch heels, we'll say. Add another 5 inches. He's got to be at least 5'10". So.
Okay. Another one is if you come off as like being too gym bro-y in your profile. And like, I have no fault of your own. I just think you're looking for a gym girl. And I am, as, you know, athletic as I like to think I am, I'm not like, there's a different vibe.
You see like muscle mommy on TikTok? I am not that. And I think that's what you want. So that's not me. I have shirtless gym pictures or like mirror selfies.
You gotta be more creative.
Like, go to like a beach picture from family vacation. Like, if you want to show off your physique, you can do that tastefully. But
and you know what? Like, I don't even fault them because like that is like what their personality is probably. And so like they probably just want someone to match their vibe. It's not I'm
our
gonna
vibe.
Swipe left. But all the best to them.
Exactly. We wish everyone love on
Nothing
their journeys.
but love to everyone. Another one, again, this is just a personal preference, but like I take it into account fashion sense. And so like skinny jeans, not my thing.
You know what's awful? Is it the moto jeans? Is that what they're called? Instant, like I would never. I could never, would never.
And I see, you know, some people kind of like do like little makeovers for the guys they're dating, and like props to you if you are like in it for the long haul and you see yourself being able to
you see the potential,
transform someone. But like I kind of would prefer if they just like had a sense of style that
they don't even like need to be stylish.
Right. I just have like, it's little things. It's like jeans that aren't skinny. Anything
it's mostly just like make sure they don't wear things
if
that I find
you
gross.
know, baggy gym shorts versus like 5-inch inseam gym shorts. It's simple things like that where I'm just like, we mesh a little bit better. I can tell you're on the same wavelength as I am. Again, like the country, a lot of guys, it's very typical. Like I'll see the basic outfit I see if they're like even just a little bit country. It is baseball hat, flannel over something, jeans, and then boots, like cowboy boots.
This is just like out of sheer like the likelihood that I date someone with cowboy boots is about 0%.
So I just kind of scope out. I'm like, does your style mesh with what I'm looking for? Doesn't have to be anything crazy, but do I like look at it and I'm like, ugh.
Okay, the last thing that I have like written down, it's not really like a deal breaker, red flag, swipe left, but I just think it's weird when guys put videos on their profile.
It almost never adds to it. Like there are some where like maybe it doesn't take away, but it never adds to
half the time, especially like on like Tinder, you can't even tell what the video is. Like, I don't know what they do it for.
Okay. What am I saying? If you have a picture where it looks like you could be dating that person, or you like put something over someone's face in the picture, I'm like, you have to have better pictures than that. Really? And maybe it's like, they could just be a friend, but I don't know that. I don't know their relationship to you.
Are you just recycling this picture?
I just always feel like you have to have other options. Or like, guess what? Go make some more options.
Take you and your boys out. You and your boys that are all single. Go and like have yourself a photo shoot.
And then my last one was, so on Hinge, there's a spot where you can kind of put like, what are you looking for? And I personally think people should just like put nothing in there. Like
no one knows.
Like everyone is probably like, maybe they're looking for something, and then depending on how it goes, depends on how serious it is. But who goes into something saying, I am looking for a short-term relationship? I just think that's weird. And then figuring out my dating goals is like another option on there. I just am like, it's not adding anything to your profile by putting this, so leave it out. Do not put anything there.
It's like a resume. If it doesn't add, leave it out.
So, and then Those were all of my like swipe left specific ones, but then I did kind of come up with like a couple deal breakers as well. I only have 3.
Then after this, can we go through like if you're a guy watching, like what your dating profile should look like?
I love that. Okay, so weaponized incompetence, being unable to like feel like they can learn anything, like doing the dishes or something, or I don't know.
Like I don't know how to cook. Look something up.
Right. So a little bit of effort is all that it takes.
Or like when people are like, I don't know how to wrap a Christmas gift. Look it up like the rest of us. I forget every year.
Yeah. Like Google exists, YouTube exists. Look things up. Excessive use of emojis/gifs.
Oh my god. Can you believe I didn't put that down?
Ciera has personal experience with this from high school.
They gave me like the
literally
best ever.
Literally the guy was like, he was new to school, like kind of like dream guy if like she didn't have any interest in anyone else in our school, but he came into town and Ciera was like, he's cute, I'm interested. So it was like,
it's honestly a miracle that anything, like he asked me like homecoming and like we didn't even talk that much, so I don't know what happened.
As soon as he like gets her phone number and starts communicating, Ciera is instantly like, oh my god,
icked out.
Yeah, so just use them sparingly or not at all.
Or like if I get to know you and I can tell when you're using it ironically, like I use emojis ironically sometimes, but like I don't know, if anything, don't use them at all.
And then my last one is like if someone's just judgmental, especially just strangers for literally no reason, I really don't care what other people are doing. And so if like we're just literally walking around and someone makes like a comment about someone else, I'm just like,
side eye. What? Side eye. You're like, why'd you say that?
Says more about them than the person they're talking about, and I just don't like that. I always pick out when someone's just like says something judgmental, and I'm like, why?
I always stick up for the stranger.
So those were all of mine. And
okay, so before we get into your guys' red flags, left swipes, whatever, the ideal for me, and hopefully like for you too, I imagine we have similar tastes in what a guy's dating profile should look like. First picture, and this is when smart photos is like a thing on at least Tinder. I don't know if it's a thing on anything else. Do you know what that is? Where it'll like change the pictures to show like your best one first or whatever. So I don't know if sometimes I like see a picture and I'm like, oh, like that should have been your first one, and then like their smart photos are on and it changes the picture. But
well, only does that if it's the most swiped photo that it's on,
I guess. So hopefully it follows what I'm saying anyways. Your first picture should be a picture of you like straight on, no sunglasses. I hate when guys like their picture like them, like they're like, this is my me photo, has sunglasses. The windows are the windows of the eyes to the soul. The eyes are the windows to the soul. I need to see your eyes. So no sunglasses to that first photo. It doesn't need to be like a freaking like LinkedIn headshot, but just something where I can like clearly see you, see your face, get your vibe, and it's like just you, or it's like if it's you and your family, like I should be able to very easily tell which one is you. No other guys your age in the photo. Next photo. I don't really care like what the other photos are, but just like not any of the ones that we say, and then like show some hobbies. Like if you like to travel, show like a picture of like your travels. If you like to, I don't know,
anything
else. You give some other examples.
I just feel like in general, hopefully the pictures are like kind of well taken with decent lighting, because that always makes the pictures look better. And if the pictures look better, then your profile looks better. And I completely agree with just like the first picture is the most important one. It needs to just be like a generally like a good photo of you where it's easy to see what you look like, and avoid other people in said photo. If you want to put like your friends or other people in a couple of the other photos, fine, but do not go overboard. And then I just want to like get your overall vibe of who you are as a person from the other photos. And then with, word prompts, if you use any, just like, I don't know, I personally think if people can be like a little witty, that's always nice. Just, yeah.
Stay classy with it.
I also think like, for me personally, like Hinge has that little section of just like kind of just general information about them. The more information I have,
fill it out,
the better. If I like literally can find nothing out about you, I'm just like, what are you hiding? Or like, why did you not?
Like,
So.
give me a little bit more to go off of. Okay, Meg and I are going to quickly run through the ideal male dating profile that
I feel like
personally intrigues us.
But then also, like, these are going to be general tips, too.
And then we'll get into your guys' deal breakers, red flags, stuff. So, first photo should unequivocally be a photo of ideally just you. I can see your face. There are no sunglasses. I hate when guys, like, their main photo has sunglasses because I'm just like, I need to see you. And eyes are, like, the most important feature in being able to, like, really see someone, I feel like.
Get the whole idea of what their face looks like.
And so I need to see the eyes. So I get, like, guys seem to wear sunglasses all the freaking time. So I get it. I get why most of your photos.
Sunglasses, so
same. But I need you to take the glasses off so I can see you. And that should be your first photo. Good lighting. Ideally, it's just you. Try and avoid men around the same age, especially being in the photo with you. If it's, like, your family, obviously I can, like, pick out probably which one you are. But ideally, it's just you.
And I feel like the big thing with the rest of the photos you choose to include is, like, again, try to keep, like, the general rule of, like, hopefully decent lighting, good quality, because otherwise I'm like, what were these pictures taken on? I can't see what's going on. But it's like, I want to get a good idea of, like, who you are as a person, your hobbies, what your vibe is, and if you feel like you do that well, then, like, you're probably in a good spot.
I have a really important one. Your pictures should all be from, like, within the past year.
Oh my God.
Isn't it ridiculous how there are still guys with their senior photo in their dating app profile?
And then
we
it's
are
like
23, 24 years old.
What?
What are you doing? I'm, like, swiping on a minor. That's not happening.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just went through and, like, changed my pictures. Like, are they, like, I changed them out to arguably, like, worst photos. But I'm like, I so wholeheartedly think that you need to have recent photos within, like, the past year, basically. And, you know, if not, then, like, you gotta find out a way to take more pictures or something, because, like, why is your high school football photo on here?
Right? Oh my God.
Like, did you even play football in college? No. So why
is this here? Why would I care if you played football in high school?
Otherwise, like, on Hinge specifically, you have, like, the opportunity to give, you know, your kind of general information. I always think the more information you can put on there, the better, because that just gives me more information. So if you have, like, literally nothing, I might be like, I don't know literally anything about you, so no thank you.
Not interested.
Yeah, those are the big ones. And then, like, with any word prompts, like, I think it's okay to be a mix of, like, you know, kind of serious answers where, like, you're not being funny, but, like, witty answers are also nice.
Sarcastic, if you can, like, tell.
Yeah.
Gives out your sense of humor.
But then also, like, again, just avoid, like, the very basic comments or, yeah. I mean, this goes without saying, but if you literally just, like, put nothing for an answer just to, like, have your account okay to be on there, like, I don't know who's swiping right on you, but
it's not her. Okay. I think that concludes all the important features we deem necessary for at least a decent dating profile. So let's go through some of your guys' responses for left swipes.
I'll be on the left swipes if you want to go to Dealbreakers.
Okay. Sounds good. Deal breaker number 1 is doesn't get along with my family. I agree with this one. With how close I am with my family and how much I hang out with them, if they didn't get along, like, it won't work. And I also respect my family's opinion highly, that, like, if they didn't like them, I'd be like, what's wrong with them?
I know. If I, like, brought someone around my family and, like, it just, like, wasn't, like, an overall, like, good, positive consensus, I would immediately be like, wait, I, like, must have picked someone bad. Because I kind of, for the most part, trust my family's judgment. And I like to think that I would pick someone who they would think fit in well. But if that didn't happen, I'd be like, okay, wait, I clearly didn't read the room well.
I missed the mark.
Okay. Has pictures of other girls but puts emojis on their faces. Did I not just say that? I just said that. Please do not do that.
Some people saying smoking. I agree with that personally. I don't want to date someone who smokes.
All group pics is a common one. Doesn't share my beliefs or values, which again, like, I feel like is just a general thing of, like, especially with the extra information they give out or things like that.
Personal hygiene, if they, like, don't take care of themselves, that's, like, I saw something on TikTok or on Facebook actually, like a group that I'm in, and this girl was talking about how like she's like, my boyfriend has such bad hygiene, like he doesn't brush his teeth. I have to remind him.
Because what group was this? This was like
Truly 20s USA. I had to join a Facebook group, just like I need a group with tea, and so that's like I'm still on the lookout. If you guys are in any Facebook groups
where you're just like you kind of get like baffled almost reading some of like the people's posts, but like it's so good because
like please let me know. I'm looking like that group. You know, it's okay, but it's not enough. I need more like wild out there Facebook content. But anyway, this girl posted in the group talking about her boyfriend's awful hygiene. And honestly, by the end of reading it, I was like, I would have left him forever ago. It's embarrassing if you like are that old and not taking care of yourself. And like people were asking about like his mental health and stuff too. It didn't seem like a mental health like issue. Like it wasn't like he was depressed and like it was hard to get out of bed, hard to like shower and stuff. It wasn't that. He just like
didn't feel like it.
Didn't remember to brush his teeth.
Okay. Someone else. I honestly can't believe I didn't say this because, like, I haven't been on Tinder in forever, and so people don't really do this as much on Hinge. But saying his height and then because I guess it matters in his bio.
You know what I've seen? I've seen guys also, like, put their weight. And I'm like, what? Do you think I'm a recruiting coach? Like, they're like, 225, 5'11". I'm like, what?
All the stats. Okay. Has no passion for anything. That's kind of hard to pick up on like a dating profile, but props to you if you can. I mean, I certainly think you can pick up like how motivated they seem like they are, but yeah.
Different lifestyles. I think that's a big one. Obviously, it's fine to be interested in different things, do different things, but at the end of the day, if your lifestyles don't mesh, they don't have to be the same. But if they don't mesh, I'm like, how's it gonna work?
I just remembered something for myself personally. I think it's hard to give specific examples, but if a guy has like a comment in his profile that comes off as being like misogynistic in any way, and like it could be something like I just saw something.
Someone said if they start mansplaining things to me, I'm done.
But I saw like someone recently where it was like they said like green flags I look for or something. It was like has a personality, and I just am like that implies
like the bare minimum.
That implies that every single other girl you've interacted with has literally no personality. And it doesn't leave a good taste in my mouth. Mm-hmm. So any comments like that,
Megan and
I feel like the guy sees it as them trying to be like, oh, if I like you, that means you have a personality. You have a good personality. But it doesn't come off that way. So do not put that.
Yeah. Megan and I also, like, in the past, we've talked about how, like, I hate when guys try and, like, other girl you. Like, you're not like other girls. You have a personality. I've never talked to anyone like this. And I'm just like, I want to be a girl's girl so badly. So I'm just like,
I'm a girl
don't
for the
trash
girls.
talk my girls. So,
right.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's not okay. Rude to restaurant workers would be deal breaker for them. I agree with that. It's not even hard to be nice to like restaurant staff or wait staff. And so like if you are rude, then you're like, dang, you can't even do like the bare minimum.
Someone said sexual innuendos in their bio.
That's pass kind of for me as well.
I'm like, now's not the time.
If it's attracting like the people that they want to attract, then I suppose it gets the job done, but it's doing its job of pushing me away. That's for sure.
Some other one says like fishing, deer hunting photos. Like it's just, you're either in the target audience for that or you're not. So mirror pics at the gym. Someone said beach picture. They don't like that. They don't like our creative take on.
I'm okay with a beach picture.
I'm okay with a beach picture. But I would start to get weirded out if like every single picture on their profile looked like a model picture, and I'm like, they'd seem like a little full of themselves at that point. But that's probably like few and far between.
Mm-hmm. That was about all
that was kind of where I was
deal breakers and stuff
wrapped up too.
Okay, well, good episode, you guys. Thanks for contributing. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed just listening to us talk about all this stuff. I had a fun time.
And you know what? We're obviously two girls talking about what we look for, bashing on, guys' profiles. I know we have like some guy listeners. We're not here to bash any of you. Hopefully, maybe we gave some tips or something. But otherwise, like, in theory, it'd be fun if we had some guy friends to like have them come in and share the other side. But I do not have any single guy
Yeah,
friends.
really.
So
All the guys I know are because they are dating or married to someone that I know.
So, you know, if that was an option, trust me, we'd put it on the schedule. But for now, it is not.
You get us.
So, that being said, I'm going to shout out our Instagram and YouTube. Go check them out. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to get 2,000 subscribers on there. Otherwise, I think that's kind of it.
Yeah, we will talk to you guys next Thursday. Bye.
Bye.